Simon Horsfield of Sale, Ian Bailey of Aldershot, Carl Smith of Leeds, Jonathan Willis of Leeds, Steve Scullion of North Belfast, Aaron Scott, Sam Aitken of Lincoln Wellington, and James Walsh. And the pacemaker for this evening is Mohamed Abdul Raziki, and he's been asked to run at 66 seconds per 400 metres. Which, as you can imagine, is going to bring him well inside 14 minutes, close to around about 13:40 pace. And Johnny Taylor, the Brooks-sponsored athlete, sporting an illuminous pair of spikes. Gotta love the way that Johnny Taylor runs. He always very committed to it. He's going with the pacemaker. He's not here to mess around. He's got now, and the field is quickly strung out, which is quite surprising. But it is still very early stages. I can see Matthew Hines, who was just run out of the victory in Solihull. Brilliant running from him there. He was always determined to lead. Potentially, I think he realises this evening he's not necessarily going to be at the very front, so he's settling into around about 5th place. Patrick Martin, who went under 14 minutes last summer at the Watford BMC, he's currently in around about 6th place, but it's all single file. If we look at the under-23 athletes, so Adam Clark, Johnny Hay, John McDonald, I imagine, and Ian Bailey potentially, they'll all be looking at that European under-23 time, which is 14 minutes dead, so they need to go sub-14. Michael Caligari had a fantastic winter season, 3rd at the National, qualified for the World Cross Country Championships. He was at last in action at Loughborough International, where he scored a new personal best of 8:13. He'll be looking to join Johnny Davison, having the European Junior qualification standard of 14:25 for those European Junior Championships. But clearly strung out at the moment. Pacemaker Mohamed is doing his job as they're asking for 66 seconds. He was spot on the first 400 metres. We'll see how close they get at 800 metres. It's Johnny Taylor leading the race, and as they go through, perfect 2:12, so 66 is what they were looking for, and that's what the athletes are getting.
Pace will take them to about 13:45, 13:50. Jonathan Taylor, of course, had a great
so Jonathan Taylor is playing with the barriers. We all know he's been a very good flat runner in the past. He's achieved international representative honours on the cross country and on the track. He went to the European Under-23 Championships over 5,000 metres. I know he wants to get a big steeplechase. He really wants to revise that steeplechase personal best. But this evening, as they go through 1 kilometre in 2:45, it's Johnny Taylor who's leading the way.
Hanrahan of Ireland is in there as well.
By the looks of it, I can't pick out Johnny Hay, so I think he is potentially a non-starter, the Aldershot Farman and District athlete.
The white vest, he goes into 3rd place.
But it's Taylor, and he's closely followed by Nowak, who's ran 14:02, apparently just outside 14:0 minutes. Nielsen is also there in Denmark.
He's in 4th place.
Matthew Bowser, I think I'll be very honest, you never know what you're going to get with Matthew Bowser. Sometimes it's exceptional, sometimes it's not so good, but he ran 3:47 at Solihull, so he's in good form. It's good to see him stepping up to the 5,000 metres, and he's currently running alongside training partner Aaron Scott. Both of those athletes coached by Mark Baddeley. But as we revert back to the front, it's still Johnny Taylor who leads. Taylor from Novak. Matthew Hines is the next British athlete. 3:10 is, I think it's not. And then there is a slight bit of a gap, and then we've got a race of around about two groups here at the moment. Those out in front being led by Johnny Taylor. Patrick Martin is leading what I wouldn't call the chasing group, but certainly the second half of the race. Matthew Bowser's coming up alongside him. Ian Bailey, who was in fantastic form over the winter, winning the National Junior Cross Country Championships, went to the European Junior Championships, led the British team home there. He's not been on the track for a while, so it's good to see him back in action, and it'll be interesting to see how low inside 15 and as close to 14:10, 14:20 as he can get. Adam Clark ran 14:11 here last year, so you'd think he's someone, if they were looking at around about 14 minutes, is definitely be well within his capabilities. apologies, I mistakenly say that Johnny Hay hadn't started, but he's in there in that blue Nike vest. He's ran under 14 minutes before, and we always know in the closing stages, if Johnny Hay is in there, you'll never write him out for a closing finish. But Matthew Haynes now is slightly detached from that leading group. It's basically Taylor with the Europeans, so he's got the Danish and Norwegian athletes for company. Then we've got Matthew Haynes, who's coming back, and then the next group is currently now being led by Matthew Bowser, and in there I can see is Patrick Martin, Johnny Hay, John McDonald, Alistair Hay. So all those under 23 guys are all hovering in and around each other. Michael Caligari, the Shaftesbury Barnet youngster, he's having a good run so far, but still early doors, 2,000 metres as they go through. Currently 66 is still being churned out by Mohamed Abdul Riquiz, so very good props to him in terms of the pacemaking job that he's doing here. Johnny Taylor will be rewarded with a lifetime best if he can stick at this pace. Still early on, but Taylor not giving much away in terms of his effort at the moment, just focused on that pacemaker out in front. Interesting inclusion in this field is Simon Horsfield, Norman Poole coached athlete, former European junior bronze medalist over the 1500 metres, and that's predominantly where he's gained a reputation. Good to see him moving up to the 5,000 metres and giving it a good shot. I imagine anything around about 14:20 to 14 minutes is what he's potentially shooting for. He's currently at the back of what is now the third group, because Johnny Taylor is now on his own. 6 laps it was that we've got from pacemaking, so from here on out it's going to be Johnny Taylor who's going to do a majority of the work. As we pointed out, he's got Nowak, the Polish athlete, for company at the moment, but Taylor's looking good and full of running at the moment.
Depth in 5k running getting ever better, and we want these 3 athletes to get below 5k. So it's Taylor, Novak, then Hanrahan, then there's a slight gap.
So Taylor leads from Novak from Hamarak. Matthew Hines is next in the next pack. Matthew Bowser's in there. Steve Scullion's moving up now. John McDonald, he went to the last European Under-23 Championships. He's gone under 14 minutes before. Very mature, sensible runner. I think he ran around about 14:10 at Solihull, so he'll be chipping away at that seasonal best and wants to get back to his very best form. Based at St Mary's, so does a lot of training with the guys down there, so he'll know Adam Clark. They'll both have a good indication of what sort of shape that they're in, and I imagine sub 14 is both what they're looking for. So Johnny Taylor, if anything, is pulling away at the moment. He's moving away from the Polish and Danish counterparts who are in this race. It seems to all be about Taylor, and now there's around about a 50 to 60 metre gap back to Matthew Hines, who, as we said, was runner-up at Solihull, set a new lifetime best of 14:03, so he'll be definitely targeting a sub-14 run, and at the moment he's definitely on for that. But as we come through 3,000 metres at the moment, it's Johnny Taylor, the Morpeth Harrier. He goes through an 8:17. So the 66s has been kept. He's maybe drifting off slightly, but he's definitely going really well as he enters into the last 2 kilometres. There seem to be a good number of athletes in this third chasing group. Are they potentially going to be chasing those guys in? It's the tattooed Matthew Haynes with that distinctive arm lift that he's got. He always looks as though he's working hard. Honestly looks as potentially at times that he's done, but he's full of running at the moment. And if not, he's actually moving away from that chasing group. But Steve Scullion, training partner of Olympian Scott Overall, he's also moving now. He's actually following the move of Hines. He's taking it through. John McDonald moving up. Adam Clark is also moving up, and they're quite at least 10 to 15 metres ahead of Johnny Hay, who took the Bucks title this year with a very impressive closing speed that we all know about. So the quest for sub 14 for those guys is definitely on. But Johnny Taylor getting good support from the Sports City crowd here. Just over a mile to go. He goes through with 4 laps of 9:25, so it's going to be in between 13:40 to 13:50. He's going to see how we fare in this last few closing stages. Scullion moves past Hines for the first time. John McDonald's on his shoulder. He looks very good. Matthew Bowser's in for a great run at the moment. Matthew Bowser's not gone under 14 minutes before, and he's certainly in that territory at the moment. Adam Clark, Carl Smith, Joe Townsend set a huge lifetime best at Solihull. He could potentially looking getting close around about 14:10 at this moment. Eddie McGinley's also in there, Aaron Scott.
As he went through there.
Johnny Hay is slightly detached now, and Michael Caligari, he's still going to be on pace for that European Junior time, but unfortunately he's going to be running in no man's land, so it's going to be a tough run for home for him over this last few laps or so. But out in front, it's the powerful, stocky Johnny Taylor. He was our first athlete home, first British athlete home at the World Cross Country Championships. Inside the top 30 at the World Cross is no mean feat, so he's clearly a very strong athlete. 10:34 with 3 laps to go. So he's going to have to rally if he wants to get under 13:50, but he's certainly given it his absolute all. And we look at the rest of the quest for sub-14. Steve Scully and John McDonald, Matthew Hines, Bowser's also in there. They're all looking for getting under that 14 minutes. But it's Taylor who's got around about a 50-metre lead now from Nowak and Nielsen, the Danish and Polish athletes, as he heads through 4 kilometres now, which he's reached in around about 11:08 for Taylor. So he is running exceptionally well. So he's running 13:50, which would be a huge personal best. Steve Scullion seems to really moving now in around about 4th place. They're closing in on those Danish and Polish athletes. He's bringing John McDonald with him. Matthew Hines and Matthew Bowser are both in what would be the race around about 6th and 7th now. And again, good bit of support for Jonathan Taylor. He's all on his own. He's working very hard. He's definitely going to go sub-14. Can he get close to 13:50? 11:43 with 2 laps to go. But as we pointed out, John McDonald and Steve Scullion are reining in on Norwalk and Nielsen. They need to run around about 2:08 for this last 800 metres in order to get under 14. Scullion's looking very strong, and McDonald's going with him. They're going to move into 2nd and 3rd into the race now. So the Irish Scullion, Luton Harrier, John McDonald looking for sub-14 minutes, which, as pointed out for McDonald, would be a European under-23 qualifying time. But Johnny Taylor out in front around about a 50-metre lead, 12:17 with 600 metres to go. He's spot on 13:50, so I say currently the way that they're moving, Steve Scullion and John McDonald will be joining him and going under 14 minutes. But still plenty of running to be had, but they've clearly gone past Norwalk and Nielsen. Matthew Hines and Matthew Bowser, if they can finish strongly, they definitely still have a shot of sub-14 as well. Simon Horsfield's having a great run. He's got Jack Goodwin just behind him as well. Taylor hits the bell, 12:52, so he's going to have to go some around about 55, 56 for McDonald's. So they're going to have to really put on some moves over this last 400 metres in order to get under 14. Taylor may be faltering slight chinks in the armour. I don't think this gap can be made up, but John McDonald looks to go past Steve Scully, and both of these athletes train in Twickenham, so they most likely know what each other's like in terms of closing speed. McDonald's going after Taylor. Taylor's still running strong, 200 metres to go. 13:24, so he is hopefully going to go. Taylor has a slight look over his shoulder, which would sense his worry, but John McDonald is full of running. Luton Harrier in 2nd place, but Steve Scullion is not giving up on the chase in 3rd. He's going to make sure McDonald works hard all the way to the line. Taylor pumps his arms. McDonald coming through. Steve Scullion coming through as well. Taylor, Scullion's coming back. McDonald's going to go. Are they going to go under 14? Definitely going under 14. It's going to be a European under 23 qualifying time for John McDonald. 55 for Taylor to take the win. Scullion sub-14. Matthew Hines, Matthew Bowser potentially just going to be outside 14. Jack Goodwin and Simon Horsfield just outside 14. As the field still potentially coming through. Johnny Hayes coming through. He's going to be around about 4:15. Joe Townsend sets a new lifetime best, 4:17, punches his fist. Michael Caligari is going to get the European Junior qualifying time as well. Just finishes behind Patrick Martin. So job done for Michael Caligari. He, as well as Jonathan Davies, now have the European Junior 5,000 metre qualifying time. And it's Ian Bailey who also sets a personal best as well, and Adam Clark, the Aldershot Farming District, who looked to be going very well early on. Unfortunately, he will be disappointed.